less than a minute. You've got 57 seconds. Are you going to use that mic alone, or are you guys going to share it? Okay. I'm going to flip that up. All right. All right.
I'm not showing it here. It's weird.
Hi, guys. Got the weather after this, and you're on.
We're live. Reset it or refresh it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There's a lag.
And as a reputable company, thanks to practices like no-cost estimates. So whether it's a filter system, installation, or repairs to an existing system, Dewey Wright Well and Pump at BlueWellDrilling.com.
Okay, here comes the weather, guys, and then you're on. I'm going to give you a countdown, big man.
Okay.
Turn the volume down.
Yeah, I told you you're going to get feedback.
Cool.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we are, everyone. A dream materializing. Our first episode of Recovery Talk here in Boone, North Carolina. The place where I personally, along with my two friends here, Chris and Justin joining me, wave guys to the camera.
You guys, morning.
Have all come and had our lives transformed. Through the years of being here in the high country, things have continued to grow as far as the recovery community here. And here we are today in another monumental step where we're here live today on Facebook and on the radio, WATA 96.5 and 1450 AM, correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So those of you that are watching on Facebook right now, this is going to be the only forum that we can answer any questions. We apologize about that. We knew that starting this thing off, we were going to have to work through a lot of kinks. But next week, we'll be able to start taking phone calls. And you know what? That's what this show is really about. It was laid on my heart about a year ago, maybe not, maybe less than a year ago. I was listening to the radio one evening on my way back from Winston-Salem. I had spent the afternoon with my family, and I just happened to be listening to an evening DJ that's nationally syndicated that gives out a lot of relational advice. And I was just asking myself, I wonder why, and I wish there was someone that did this with the form of recovery, because in my experience, there's a lot of hurting families out there. There's a lot of people that don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to help their loved ones. And you know, I'm not here saying that I have all the answers, but I want to have a discussion about it. I want to talk to people about it. I want to be a voice. This conversation needs to happen. And just a few months later, I had presented this idea to the board of directors of a program I work for, right here in the high country. And it's funny, nothing happened immediately, but a couple months later, I get a phone call from a dear friend of mine, a brother that I met 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And he called me one morning just to tell me about a life change that he was doing. He's very excited about it. And he said that I'm switching jobs. I'm getting off my tools.
Taking the tool belt off, that's right.
Right, very experienced carpenter here. Maybe I shouldn't say that on the air, because then you'll start getting phone calls.
No,
but
fine.
very experienced carpenter, and he said, you know what, I've taken a sales job at a radio station. And I said, you know what, that's funny. Let me tell you about this idea I had, and you know what, here we are.
Here we are. That's how it all got started. Yeah.
That's how it all got started. So with our first day, I asked a couple buddies of mine, because we literally don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to be talking. We're gonna be talking about recovery, some of the things that have touched us dearly. All three of us have run the gauntlet, per se, going through recovery, trying different programs, different philosophies, different methodologies, and you know, what we're at, where we're at, and I can honestly say that my two brothers next to me, we found a place of contentment. We found a place of peace, and we found a place of understanding. And you know what? We all live different lives as far as the details of our lives, but you know, we all deeply care about people that are struggling with addiction in this country right now. And for those of you that are listening right now, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how bad this problem is, in 1999, 12,000 people were recorded to have died from overdose. Now, you fast forward that to 16 years later, in 2016, 52,000 people lost their lives to overdose. Now, that's
big.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
But the scary thing is, it took that long to go up about 40,000 people, right? From 16 to 17, it jumped another 12,000 people. Yeah. In 2017, 64,000 people died from substance abuse. Yeah. And the 2018 or 2017 numbers will be coming out, I think, in November. That's when they released 16. I might have gotten those dates wrong. 15, 16. The 17 numbers will be about November. That's when they release them. So.
And one of the main topics of the show, the opioid crisis, it's probably got a lot to do with that.
Absolutely.
You know, how prevalent opioid use has become, not only on the streets, but at your doctor's office. You know, I think that's why the numbers have grown so much, because it's so easy to get right now. You know, it's cheaper. It's easier to get. If you can't get it on the streets, you go to your doctor. If you can't get it from your doctor, you go to your streets. And it's just exploded, and it's sad. And that's, you know, I think one of the basis of this show is for people to call in, people to go on live on Facebook and ask questions to Jim. Like he had talked about some of his credentials. You know, we're three guys sitting here right now that have been through it and gone through it and found light at the end of the tunnel.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody's family that hasn't been affected in some way by addiction in general.
Yeah.
It should be a great resource for anybody, not just opioid addiction, but any addiction to call in. Because this, you know, the answers are the same for any addiction. I think the same process. So.
Well, and the ultimate answer that you want to hear is there is a way out. Absolutely, there is an answer. There is a better way of life, and that's what Jim Quigley over here and ourselves want to help people understand and get to that point and understand that you might feel trapped, you might be trapped, you might feel like there's no way out, but there is, because we've all been there. You know, just feeling like, you know, there was only one way out, and that was, you know, death. And we've all been saved. We've all come to know the Lord. We've all come to find our own ways, and we're excited to talk about it. So,
coming up on a hard break, just a few seconds. When we come back from the commercial, I'm going to talk. I think we should talk a little bit about why the prevalent raise in opioids. You know, why has that become so huge over the last recent years? I have a little bit of theory myself. I know you guys probably have some things to say about it too.
Cool.
So, we'll be back.
Is Saturday,
Nice.
May 26th.
Good intro.
Cool.
We got 8 people watching. What's up, guys?
Runners who complete all 3 races are eligible for cash awards.
Someone's Debbie Quigley said Mama's here.
That's Mom.
Mama's here. Hey, Debbie.
To register, go to
My mom's there. Hey, Mom.
Your mom's there.
Yeah.
If you like the shooting sports, head on over to Barnett's Guns in Hampton, Tennessee.
There's Suzanne Smith. I texted Jason the other day. He didn't text me back.
Stay tuned for updates.
My brother Paul, Anna,
Hey, Paul.
Shara.
Especially on 2
Hey, guys.
First, the Ruger LCR 38 special caliber revolver, model 05.
So everybody watching, you can go to the Recovery Talk Facebook page and invite your friends. I just went through my whole friends list and invited everybody.
Yeah. And also, you can ask. You guys can ask questions on the Facebook page that we can, you know, take questions, and have answers for. That's going to be one of our ways of guiding the show, is through phone calls and through Facebook Live.
They said they can't barely hear.
The microphone's way up there.
Can you turn it up?
I don't know if it turns the microphone up or not.
Guys, you've got 2 minutes. No, 2.5 minutes.
don't think volume turns the microphone up. That's just the speaker.
I don't have an idea. I don't know.
Well, Suzanne heard me, so. And Sibby.
Must have been Todd saying that the volume was weak, wasn't
I
it?
think it was.
Hey, Todd.
Oh, she said Anna said she can hear us fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should I put us back up there?
I think that's good like that.
That's
too.
good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
How much time in total we still have?
Okay, you're inside 90 seconds.
How long is the total show?
30 minutes. That's what we.
We started at 11:07. Is when we'll be finished.
I'm not sure if it ended at 11 or if we
You got news at 11 a.m.
So we ended at 11. So what's up, Paul?
Go ahead, step up to the plate and call 1-800-759-2226 or visit us online at skybest.com to sign up today. That's
50 seconds, guys.
1-800-759-2226 or skybest.com. Knock your savings out of the box. But you better hurry. This offer ends June 30th, 2018.
I saw online you won your contest, or was it a contest, or what was it? Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Just started.
Me and Jeremiah Farmer, we tied.
I'm Sarah with another triple
Yeah.
T.
So you both got gifts, or what do you call it?
Oh, our wives got gifts. Yeah, that's the way that works.
It's even better than right.
You'd be amazed how problem behavior can be turned around.
Okay, guys, 18 seconds.
Hi, Judy.
Small changes.
Oh, Judy's on.
Strategies are
Hey,
proven
Mom.
to work and can make a world of difference for
10
your
seconds.
Small changes, big differences. See how this positive parenting
5 seconds. Mics are hot.
Hey guys, we're back with Recovery Talk. Make sure you're passing the word. We really want to get this show out there. So go on Facebook, Recovery Talk. Find us on Facebook, like our page, pass around, share it, and next week, like I said, we'll be able to take some phone calls.
Yeah.
Back to the subject of the prevalence, the rise in the opioids, opiates. I have a hard time saying that.
Opiates works
I think brain
better.
damage from years of substance abuse. But anyway, I think you guys would probably agree that, for a good part of the 2000s, late 90s, the streets were flooded with pills. I mean, there's still a lot of pills.
Sure.
A lot of pills, but probably more the 2000s, early 2010s. And that as laws have been passed, as things have been clamping down, and it's harder and harder and harder and harder to get pills, what has happened?
People are going to the streets.
Going to heroin.
Going to heroin.
That's right.
And this is how that works, folks. If you don't, it's very acceptable to take a pill from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor prescribed it to me, and
it's acceptable to family, and it's acceptable to yourself mentally.
Right. It's not very hard. I come from the land of pills, South Florida, where they were being prescribed everywhere. Tell you war stories and horror stories, and don't need to get into that. But, hey, Gabe, what's going on, buddy? But those pills have now gotten to where they're out of reach for the average person because they're so expensive. But you have a person now that's completely addicted to them. They need them to function.
Yeah.
So all you do is you get a person like that, and you say, hey, look, I got something that's much cheaper, and it does the exact same thing.
Let me explain that, because some don't understand. Once you're addicted to a substance, it transfers from giving you a good feeling to you have to have that
maintenance,
not daily, but every 4 hours to get out of bed and function.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it literally goes to the point where your body will not function without it.
Exactly.
And you're going to, if you're on a prescription for 5 years for, say, OxyContin, and then all of a sudden you lose insurance, or you can't get insurance, or all of a sudden you can't get it, you don't have the money for it because it's so expensive. Your body is now dependent on the drug that's in OxyContin. You know, so what are you going to do? You're going to go to the streets and you're going to get heroin, and you're going to not do it because you want to get high. You're going to do it because your body needs it. Because you can't get out of bed without it. You can't go to sleep without it. You can't have a conversation without it. You can't show up to work without it. You cannot do anything in life without it because your body is now needs it. You know.
So that's like Jim was saying. What's happening now? People can't afford it, so their one option to go to is heroin.
Yeah, you have someone, their inhibitions are down. They need it. You put it in front of them, and that could have been someone that would never. I would never do heroin. You get someone in a situation like that,
guy, yeah.
You're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you try it, as soon as you compromise that 1 minute, then it's all over. It's all over from there. Now you're a heroin addict. You're a street heroin addict. Yeah. And again, like I said, 64,000 people in 2016. That's the correct stuff.
That's a big number. That's a huge number.
And just so you understand how bad was the pill problem, now, you know, statistics can be, you know, depending on who you're talking to. But the statistics I've seen about the pills, if you take the population of the world, okay, United States only makes up 5% of the population of the world, right? But the United States consumes 80% of the worldwide opioid pain medication.
No, that's
okay.
crazy.
So if you ever want to know how bad this problem is, and it's specifically in the United States, that is why. Americans, you know, I'm not going to hate on my country or anything, but one of the negative things about America is that we have so many blessings and so many things at our fingertips that we can avoid pain and we can avoid hardships and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, a lot of people in a lot of other parts of the world, they just, you know, simply don't have access to the things. So you got people that are willing to pay to not have pain, and, you know, here you go. You have an opioid problem here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't President Trump declare it a national crisis or emergency this past year?
He did. He called a national health crisis. Now, the controversy that was in that was the budget for anything that was a health crisis was something like, I don't know, it was less than a couple $1 million at that. Yeah. So there wasn't. He could say it, but there wasn't anything. But I think that it's moving towards our government getting involved. Now, that kind of segues into another issue. Okay, so they want to get involved. People want to throw money at this. They want to help. There's a lot of people out there, and so let's say we got $50 billion to spend on the crisis. Where are we going to give that money? And this is where a lot of my heart comes in when it comes to addressing it, because like you guys, right? You know, I tried to get sober, went to a lot of programs, and I got, you know, unfortunately, it's all part of my experience and where I am today. But
sure. Mine too.
You know, unfortunately, there was a lot of bad stuff I went through.
I think you got a really good question on there. It just popped up.
So
Judy,
that's my mom. She's asking. Let's see, we got 4 minutes. We got enough to take this. How do people begin to get help or know they need help? How do they know they have a problem? That's a great question.
So, you know, dancing around the issue, not wanting to hurt people to be addressed. There's a lot of people out there that know, in my opinion, that know loved ones have problems. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we live in a society where your business is your business and your business is your business and mine, and you don't have a right.
Right.
And that's a societal thing that has become very prevalent in our country now. So we need to confront people, and we need to say, hey, you know, something's going on in a loving way. Now, you know, how do you convince a person that's got a problem to have a problem? You know, I wish I knew the answer to that. You know, but I will tell you that in my experience with people, there are tons of loved ones and family members that know there's something going on, and there's a person heading for tons of consequences, and the family is keeping them from the consequences by supporting their life, right? Because they don't want them to lose their life, but they don't realize that if they would cut that support off, then these people might face consequences, need to wake up. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it comes down to. It's funny my mom asked this question because that's what it came down to for me. I literally, my mom was the last person I had that had my back and believed, was still I was still stringing her along. It wasn't until I made a phone call. My mom finally said, "I'm done with you. You need to get help." She was actually on her honeymoon, and I called Jim Quigley, and I told her I was having issues. I needed to get some help, and called Jim Quigley. I called my mom. I told her, this is what I was going to do. I needed help one more time financially. She said, "This is the deal. I'll help you out one more time, but do not call me until something's changed and you're better." It literally took the most important woman in my life, the last person that had my back, because everybody turned their back on me. I had nobody else.
It's a common story. My mom's watching in the same situation. With
Mine
her.
too.
Yeah. I mean, so is that a theme? People that get successful and can stay sober, their family basically has to stop enabling them.
I think so.
We're coming up on a break. Gary, I want to say shout out, man. Awesome. 9 years, man. Thank you. Thanks for listening, brother.
Gary.
22 years addiction, 9 years clean.
Nice.
Tough love. That is a controversial topic, man. You know what? I've spent more time on the phone with families talking about what tough love means and all that kind of stuff. And man, it's almost like the people think this or that. But I want to speak into that a little bit, and I think it's a good topic.
I think it is too. I think we should pick up here after this break. I think it's definitely us three I think it's where every addict that's found success, I don't want to say success, has found sobriety long term.
Sobriety
Sobriety success. Yeah, absolutely. Has probably got the same common denominator, and that's the enabling, and that's to the point where we're talking about right now, where we all got to. So I definitely think after we pick up, we got about 30 seconds till we take a little break here. I think we'll start off with that question that Judy asked. How do people begin to get help and know that they need help? Kind of two questions in that.
Right. That's right, Justin. I love you, brother. Keep playing that guitar, man.
Yeah, man. Cool.
We're going to break. We'll be back here in a minute.
How cool is it that all of our moms supported us through everything?
Yeah, right?
All three of our moms are watching us live.
You need to say that when I come back. What time is it?
It's 2 after, 5 after. It's 11:05.
No, it's 11 a.m.
It's 11.
Your watch is fast.
It's 11? So we're done.
Well,
Oh, you say you're going to come back. You got to come back now.
We went on 7 minutes late. So we're going to go off. What time are we going off? What time are we done?
You're going to go to 11:30 now.
We're going to 11:30.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
It was always planned to go.
Yeah. So for you guys that are watching, we were going to do a 30-minute segment just to iron out everything, but we're going to 11:30, and I think we're all good with that. There's plenty of topic here to cover.
There's my brother Mikey Moorhead's watching. I hope you're not listening and watching while you're driving a semi-truck.
6.5 years?
Nice.
man.
Congratulations,
Awesome.
man. That's awesome.
I've known him since I was 6 years old. He doesn't remember that. I do. Love you, brother. This is weird tasting water.
It is.
Does it got something in it, or is it just water?
You got to have it cold.
Okay.
When it's warm, yeah, it's
What's its claim to fame?
It's oxygen rich.
oxygen rich.
Yes.
Microstructured purified water, MBO, purified water, sodium chloride, electrolytes, and trace minerals.
Look at that. Richie from New York is watching. Hey, Richie.
Who is the North Carolina High School Athletic Association?
Yeah, 13 people on watching right now. That's a great start.
3 of them are mothers, so.
Well, 3 of them were mothers that this show wouldn't be possible if they
There's Gary.
hadn't done what they did.
Hey, Gary.
We are making a difference in building leaders in communities and this nation for the next generation.
Who are we? We are high school. We are the NCHSAA. The longest running and largest wine festival in the state is coming back to Tanglewood Park.
Is your mom in recovery?
No.
Memorial Day weekend
she's in recovery, having to deal with me after years.
I think what they went through was probably worse than what we went through.
Oh, absolutely.
And don't get me wrong, it sucks, but more than laying at home worrying
Your
about it.
moms are still interested. That's right. That was me, Gary. I remember that. That was a long time ago.
Some grouper. I'm going to the beach.
Gary took me. He's a commercial. I don't know if you're a commercial fisherman anymore. He was down in Florida, Jupiter.
Nice. We're going on a family vacation this weekend for a week to Sunset Beach, and we do a fishing trip. Catch a lot of grouper.
Nice.
I'm excited. Grouper, snapper, a couple sharks.
The boss lady just logged in.
Oh boy.
Who?
Miss Quigley.
My wife. Oh.
Better stop talking about her now.
Yeah.
Honey, you're working. I don't know how you're watching this. Kingfish. Nice, man.
Paul from Helen, Georgia.
That's right. Paul and I went to high school together.
Wow.
I've been talking to him. He's in Georgia. He's I think 6 or 8 months strong sobriety right now, man. There's my brother,
There's
Andrew Carrar.
Patty Townsend, Chris's mom. She's listening to this, watching this show, and in her car crying because
Don't cry, Mom.
this is exciting, you know.
Austin, I can't see you. My phone's dead, so it's a body that I look over your shoulder at your phone.
I know.
This is really cool.
All right, guys, you're going to be coming out of here right after this weather.
Okay.
You got a bump, and then we'll...
Proud mom Terry, proud mom of 2 of Freedom Farm residents.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Steve and Daniel.
Lights are getting hot right now.
Okay, we're back.
Back.
And we left at the topic of tough love, and all the moms are out,
Yeah,
especially
all
our
the moms
moms,
are out,
on the Facebook Live, and we appreciate all the support. Keep passing it around, letting people know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the subject tough love. You know, parents call me all the time, and they want to know, what does that mean? And most people's idea of tough love is that you stop speaking to somebody. You almost make them feel like an outcast through a negative. Does that make any sense? And I don't support that. I don't support that at all. When I tell parents to practice tough love, I say it in this way. I say, look, do not financially support their lifestyle, or even if it's all pretty much down to finance. You cut someone's finances off that you're providing, and they're going to get into some consequences fast. What I mean is rent. Don't let them stay at your house.
Right.
You know?
That's an important one I was going to say, because cutting them off financially by not giving them $20 when they come and ask you is one thing, but letting them stay in your basement while you know they're getting high,
Right.
I mean, that's just got to go. My mom had told me, you've got to go. You no longer are invited to live in my home anymore.
Paying cell phone bills.
Yeah.
Giving groceries and things like that. You're like, well, they're not going to eat, you know. What does the tough love mean? Okay, so cut all that stuff off, but make sure they know beyond a shadow of a doubt how much you care for them, you love them, and you're there to support once they want to start making steps to get help. What does that mean? You know, maybe calling every day, maybe communicating with them every day. You know, we all have stories. I don't want you all to tell a story about that. What was that moment? I had one with my mom, and she will still say today it was one of the toughest things she ever did. But I had just got out of the hospital. I overdosed, had a heart attack. I was 35 years old. and she was dropping me off. My buddy Mike is watching right now, where Mike was living, pretty much abandoned house, and she was not going to help me out anymore. And my mom rolled that window down in the driveway after sitting there for, I don't know, at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
She said, I need to talk to you about something. And let me tell you something, I had berated this woman. I was so mean to her because she would not let me come to her house or help me out anymore. And she said, look, I need you to hear something. I need you to know something. I love you more than you will ever know. And she says, but because of your lifestyle choices, if I see you eating out of a dumpster tomorrow, I am not helping you.
Yeah.
And she left. And you know what? 2 weeks later, I was here.
Yeah.
And that's what was those. And you know what? It took months and months before my mom would even really feel any kind of comfortable even having long conversations with me.
After you're here, well, she knew, like the story I had told, once I was here, the good thing about a program that I had gone through is, their phone time is, your phone time, your connection time is very limited, and my mom probably never had more feeling of relief than when Jim Quigley finally called her and said, or I called her and said, I'm here, I won't be able to talk to you for a while, but I'm safe. You know what I mean? And that's, but like Jim was saying, his story, what it took was for me, and I I was a master manipulator. I mean, I took any situation, and especially with my mom, I manipulated money, living, a car, everything that I could possibly do to continue on the way I was living. And it literally took my mom, like Jim just was talking about, to say, I love you, but I no longer can support this, the way you're living anymore at all. Get it right, get it straight, and call me when you're done. And that was it. And so maybe Chris, you want to tell your story a little bit?
Yeah, I was in the hospital. I've never shared this with you, Jim, but I almost lost my hand a lot like you did. Was in the hospital. My mom was coming to visit every day. I'd been through a couple surgeries. Was staying at my dad's house. I went through a time where my mom was supporting my business interests while I was spending my money on drugs. So she was trying to keep me afloat the best way she could. It's the only way she knew how to take care of me. And then she realized that she had to stop. And we had a conversation in the hospital. I got out. Thankfully, my hand's still here and I can still use it. I'm still at my dad's, and she said, listen, you're going to have to do something. You can't keep going the way you're going. I'm not helping you anymore. I found this place in Boone. Would you be willing to go? And the rest is history.
Yeah. Something you got to realize, too, is all the mothers listening, is during that time, we were going through tough times, and we were probably only thinking about ourselves. But I still think to this day, now that I've cleared my mind and I found the Lord and been saved, what my mom was going through. I mean, it was hard for us, but man, I mean, it's going to be hard for anybody listening that might be in this situation. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever had to do. A mother's intuition is to love and protect their son or daughter.
Yeah.
It's going against everything that is instilled into your heart to love and protect and to care for and to nurture. It's going to be, and I think that's the breaking point where you can either continue on and just finally just turn your back, like we just talked about, or you continue to enable, and there's other mothers out there that have gone through this, just like there's other addicts and other people that have been saved. They go through this, that when we're struggling, we call, well, your mothers need to do the same thing. Find a mother that's gone through the same thing, and when you finally turn away, stay in contact with that other mother that's done it, because I can promise you that it'll get easier as the time goes on.
And I will add one more thing for the people that's listening who need to give some tough love. I never doubted for 1 second how much my mom loved me.
Right, absolutely.
That was never a question. Even when she started saying, I can't help you anymore.
Yeah.
It was because she loved me that she was doing that. So that was never a doubt.
And at that point you just brought up, Justin, that's got to be part of this conversation. If people are going to get help, those moms out there have got to be part of that conversation, man. They have to be guiding other mothers on, you need to be getting involved in people's business.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, this whole this whole thing about
It's life or death.
Yeah.
You know.
Get a couple shout outs. Justin, man, I love you, man. 2.5 years. That's so awesome. Gary, we're in Boone, North Carolina. But I do want to make it clear, everybody, this show isn't about the program I work for or anything like that. That obviously we're here to help, but this show is about trying to create a conversation in this community and try to reach out as far as we can. Facebook gives us, unlimited access to as far as it goes. Who knows? My friend Richie in New York, he's asking about what we think about
injection sites.
The injection sites. Yeah, I just think money could be
used in better ways.
Used in a better way.
Yeah.
I just, they're trying to take the taboo away from people that are using. I mean,
drugs have been around forever. You're never going to stop drugs. Giving people an outlet to giving them an outlet to do it in, I don't think is a good idea. However, whether they're in the streets or they're in a room that's being regulated, drugs are going to be around regardless. That's not the point of the show. Is not to talk about how prevalent drugs are. The point of the show, because they're there and they're never going anywhere. The point of the show is for people to be able to call in, people to be able to go on Facebook, get advice from Jim, who's got some credentials that he's gone to school for, and he's he leads a drug counseling program. But for people to call in and be able to get help out of the drugs, we don't want to just talk about the drugs because we know they're there. We want to give people help out of it. But like we have talked about, you have to come to a point where you realize that you need help for yourself. I couldn't go to the program I went to for my mom or my sister or my brother. I had to finally do it for myself. And I went a lot of years in my early 20s trying to do this for this, and I'm doing it for this girl, or I'm doing it for my brother, I'm doing it for my mom. And it was never for me. You know what I mean? And that's the one time I think you need to be selfish when you're doing drugs, is you need to finally say, this is for me. I need to get my life together. I need to not worry about anybody else, because I can promise you there's probably, if you're in active addiction, 95% of your friends are going to be gone by the time you're trying to get help.
Oh yeah.
They're not friends. There's people I used to hang with that I thought were my best buds, and they would do anything for me. Well, I can promise you, when the drugs and the money's gone, they're not going to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to just get rid of everybody in my life except for family, because they got rid of me, and I got to a point where I had nobody, where I finally admitted to myself, I need some serious help.
Yep.
That's when I called Jim Quigley, and that was December 5th, 2015, when I was saved, found a good Lord, and the rest is history.
Amen, man. So you touched on it a minute ago. Maybe after the break we can talk about ideas of where the money should go. You talk about the injection sites. We could spend the resources somewhere better.
Yeah.
Obviously, incarceration doesn't work.
That's been a proven fact for a really long time.
For a lot of years. I don't know if there's a right answer, but maybe we could talk about where the money needs to be spent for a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many places you can put the money. That's kind of what I was saying. Like, we're never going to solve the problem with drugs or where the money's going. But what we can solve is the problem of where to go to get help. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, we're going to talk about the problem. I'm going to tell you, just to give you a hint, when we come after the break. Part of the problem when it comes to where to get help is that it's a $38 billion industry that continues to make money.
Yeah.
So they're not really going to question about the philosophy they go about doing that, are they?
That's true.
No, I think we should talk about that, because we've all gone through secular
Gotta go to break.
programs.
Here we go, 5-4.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
All right.
So what I was going to say was comparing secular programs to a Christian program, or a religious program.
Is that number still true that you can share? Like 1%, 12-step programs successful 1%?
Actually,
What's up, Nick?
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
My buddy Nick Marchand, I grew up with him, went through the ringer with him. He's probably got about 6-7 years clean now.
Nice. Lisa, I didn't say hi, and I'd like to take credit for saving your son, but I just was a vessel used. Okay. But we love you. Happy birthday to Brian.
got time here? You got 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, so then that'll probably bring us into our last segment, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you got to get up by 11:30 because we got a news block coming at 11:30. But you guys are in good shape.
Okay.
Just follow the numbers. You guys will be okay.
Cool.
Don't do what one guy did here some years ago. You're holding up number. He just ignores. He just kept going and going and going. And man, oh man.
We would never do that to you.
Oh, Jiminy Chris.
So, guys on Facebook, maybe suggestions for topics for next week. What do you guys want to hear Jim talk about?
Yeah, real quick. Sorry, Nick
You
Marchand,
got time.
my buddy.
You got time. Don't real quick 'em. You got a minute and a half after this.
My buddy, I grew up with Nick Marchand, 5 years sober. And,
Awesome, Nick.
We used to go through the
Good
ringer
job.
together growing up, man. Yeah.
That's right, Lisa. He's still doing great too. See him all the time.
Whose mom is that, Lisa?
Brandon.
Brandon, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Terry said fix the squeaky chairs by next week.
Sorry, Terry.
I quit. I quit.
I quit.
I quit too.
Yeah, see, we're in multiple states here. Yeah, Florida. Terry's in Maryland. Chicago.
Yeah.
Where's Nick?
Ivy, my sister's just got on. Hey, Ivy, a.k.a. Lauren. I call her Lauren. She goes by her middle name, Ivy. There's one that has seen it all, man. Has seen...
New York? We got New York? No, I think Richie lives in Jersey. There's
Okay, guys, you're inside a minute.
Okay.
Terry should be proud. One of her sons is at the safe house now working.
Yeah.
For a program.
Daniel.
We got 19 people watching. It's going up. Very cool, very cool. First day.
Yeah.
And we'll be on every Thursday, guys, at on Facebook Live on Recovery Talk and WATA 1450 96.5. And we'll be live 10:30.
30 seconds, guys.
Oh, 11:30. We'll be live every Thursday at 10:30. It was going to be 10:30 to 11, but this show is, I mean, we're just flowing, so it's going to be
10 seconds,
an hour
guys.
long. Going back on.
20 seconds. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It's time for dopey specialists. Let them troubleshoot with their modern equipment.
10 seconds. Microphones are now going hot.
All right, we're back.
We're back. Here we are.
Where do we leave it?
So I asked the question, if I could
Okay.
write you a check for $50 billion to spend on recovery, where would you direct the money?
Okay. So this is a multifaceted question. So again, we have a $38 billion industry, right? And yeah, I don't even know where to start answering this question, but this is what I will say, that actually in my running the gauntlet of trying to find recovery, I was always jealous because I didn't have rich parents or a fat insurance policy to send me one of these posh rehabs. But man, I knew tons of kids I went to, so my experience was seeing them. I'm gonna tell you, they were some of the worst.
Yeah.
They were some of the worst people
Those
to try to get sober with.
Vacation.
They were
It was a vacation. It was a
right?
place to go meet other people that were into
Yeah.
other stuff, and you learned new ways of doing different things.
So
You know?
here you are spending, you know, some of these places are $1,000 a day.
A day.
Some
Yeah.
are $1,000 a week. You know, I mean, very, very expensive. Very, very nice. I mean, you go there and you feel good coming out of there
Yeah.
because you've had a chef making your food and you've been able to sit by the beach and all that kind of
You
stuff.
just got a little romance going on.
Right. But
Feeling
obviously,
good.
this is a poor way of
Yeah.
spending money. Now,
Absolutely.
Now, remember, this is all my opinion, you know. Yeah, in my opinion, in my experience, it's always been not a very very good path.
It hasn't worked.
Right.
You know, we're talking from our own experience because you have three guys sitting on this table right here that have gone through exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many you've gone through secular programs. I think maybe 10 I've gone through.
Well, then you got then what you do, yeah. Then you got the places that can't afford or they don't have the staff or the licensing to get that money from insurances. So you get the whole other end of the spectrum where they need to operate. So how do they do that? They put people to work. You know, they become almost labor camps and whatnot. So I guess the first thing to talk about is like who has made the biggest impact on the recovery world, because before the 1930s, let me tell you something. Doctors, professionals, the people with the names behind the letters behind their names, they were stabbing in the dark, my friends. You know, electric shock therapy, institutionalization, lobotomies, things like that.
To treat addiction,
right?
Yeah. I mean,
well, and here's the thing. Let me come in. Let me talk real quick about that, but about the hard subject to talk about in God for some people. For me, all those years, 12 steps, all of those things I needed to do, sitting in a room and reminding myself every day of all the horrible things I did, going to a meeting and saying, hey, my name is Justin every day, and this is who I am. This is who I'm identified by. Mm-hmm. It finally took me till I went to Freedom Farm Ministries, where I had to take one step. You know, I know I was forgiven. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Anyone who belongs to Christ is a new creation. The past is gone, as new has come. So I found a new identity in the blood of Christ. I found a way to live where I didn't have to go into a room every day and say all the horrible things I did and apologize and write these paragraph booklets of all the horrible things I did. I was forgiven for all of them. Mm-hmm. First time in my life, all these horrible things and things that I didn't even do when I was on drugs, things from when I was younger that I held on to for all these years, I can now give to God and let go, man. You know, I didn't have to write out 12 different ways to get rid of it. I didn't have, and I'm not downing AA because it works for a lot of people. This is my story. You know, for me, I didn't need 12 steps. I didn't need booklets. I needed one step, and that was to give myself to the Lord, and He's my Lord and Savior. He saved me, and decide to take that step. You know, and let me tell you, I grew up Jewish. You know. I opened the Bible for the first time December 15, 2015 for the most part. I did a little bit before, but I really got into the Word December 15th. And so my story does not come from being raised as a Christian man. My story comes as being raised Jewish and then being very lost and then finding Christ and finding sobriety. Mm-hmm. You know. Well,
you mentioned AA, and that's where kind of I was going. And you know what? For anybody listening, anybody on Facebook, I unabashedly am a Christian. That has been the foundational piece in my recovery. But I want to speak into the general, like, we're a $50 million check, you know, what will you do? Okay, so this is my opinion, you know. The thing that's had the biggest impact has been 12-step community. And I want to emphasize that word community. Because if you study AA and study 12-step and all that kind of stuff, I mean, guys that come to see me, they're tired of it. You know why they're tired of it? Because the people that are normally going this, and I know I'm making huge, sweeping general statements here, but a lot of the people have gotten lost on what the original 12 steps and stuff was all about. And really, the way you can describe it is that, you know what, it was a community. Yeah. It does work for the statistics I hear, 5 to 10% of the people that go there. Why does it work for those 5 to 10% of the people that go there? Because they find a community of people that accept them and bring them in. It really has, I mean, I don't want to discount the 12 steps, but it really doesn't have, that's not a major factor in it, right? The major factor in it is that, like, look, I got people here that accept me, that care about me, and they get involved in my life. Like that theme I keep talking about. You know, because what is one of the things about addiction is that it takes time, man. Yeah. You don't change overnight. It takes time, and you need a safe place to just get that time, you know? Yeah.
Well, and also, you know, I don't want to say that I was discrediting AA at all, because it's helped millions of people. Yeah. And there's people that have 60, 70, you know, there's people who have died sober over 50 years of sobriety with AA. I'm not discrediting it at all. All I'm saying is our personal experience. Yeah. Was because there's probably a lot of people sitting out there right now that might be high right now, might be struggling, or a family member might be hurting that have been through AA. They've been through the meetings. You know, it doesn't work. I got to the point where I said, AA doesn't work. It's not for me. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, there is another way, you know. I'm not saying it's the way, but there is another way if you're willing to take that step of faith. You know, 3 guys sitting on this panel right here all took that step of faith and have found success. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I mess up. on a daily basis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Daily. On a
hourly
basis, I mess up. You know, but what I've learned is a sin is a sin is a sin, and my Father forgives me for what I've done in the past and in the present and in the now and in the future. You know. Sorry, I get a little fired up for it when I start talking about Christ, man.
Like your passion.
We got probably about 2 minutes, right? We got about 2 minutes.
And that'll be the end of our show.
Yeah.
Our first one.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, everybody? Get the word out because we want some participation. We want more. Thank you, everybody on Facebook Live. But next week, hopefully, we'll have the number that will be given out on air to call in.
Yeah.
And Gary, I think we talked a little bit about that at the beginning, kind of like the transition, how easy it is to go from pills to heroin. But we didn't really talk about how easy it is for somebody that has a surgery and can one pill get hooked on it. Gary asked that. And we should talk about that next time.
Yeah.
We will talk about that next time. But we really need to get the word out here. This is an exciting show. I'm excited. You guys...
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to live calls. We hear each other talk all the time. I want to hear somebody else talk.
Absolutely.
And let's hey, guys, if you're out there listening and you're struggling, we want to hear from you. We want to... Jim has got a lot of background, a lot of knowledge. Call in and talk about it because it's not going to get taken care of if you don't talk about it. You know, we're here to talk. So,
and Mike Kelly, thank you so much for all your help
Mike's
today.
running the board over
Mike's
here.
running the board for us. He's learning us how to do this. So, all your experience,
You guys got about 30 seconds.
All your experience has really helped out. And man. And if you may be interested in being a part of the show, I got Jason Miller. He wants to be a part of the show. You know what? We're learning as we're going, folks. So
we'll fill this room. I mean, there's no problem. The more the merrier. There's a lot of guys in the community of Boone that we all are very close connected to that would love to get in here and share.
All right. I hope we got the crowd hyped up for the news, and then Rush at 12, right?
Yeah. And real quick, guys, the phone number for on air to call in, we're going to try to work this out for next week, is going to be area code 828-262-1567. That's 828-262-1567. We'll be able to get, we'll have the headphones working then. We'll take live calls, have some Q&A, and, we're looking for these questions you asked, but we're looking for the guy out there that's struggling, the girl out there that's struggling.
Yeah.
The girl or guy that's in it
or
right
the family member that's
or the family member that's in it, the mother that's in it right now. You got to talk about it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Write your questions down so you don't forget them and call us back next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. We appreciate it. We're gonna wrap it up now. It's been an awesome show.
See you next Thursday.
Yeah. All right.
Doing great.
Yeah, doing great.
See you guys next Thursday.
Awesome.
Next Thursday.
Let me log off Facebook. Thanks, guys, on Facebook for watching. Next Thursday, we'll be back on.
Later.